So good morning, Christi. Thank you for joining me for our interview today. And I wonder if you could start off just by telling us a little bit about yourself and your district.
Yeah, so my name is Christi DeChamps. I'm a school social worker for the Appleton area school district in Wisconsin. Our school district is actually the 6th largest in the state of Wisconsin. So we're more of a suburban school district. Appleton has about 74,000 people in it. We have 23 community 4K sites. We have 16 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, 3 high schools, and then we have a couple of our alternative programs as well. There's just some challenges under normal circumstances of kids moving when they're homeless because they often are not assigned to the same neighborhood school. So that's often something we're trying to navigate with them.
Okay, great. So as you look towards this back to school, what are the top couple of challenges that you're worried about given the state of the world right now?
I think for me, my worries that I have for the homeless families that I'm working with is that their situation is often very fluid. The highest kind of housing prevalence that I have with my homeless families are they're in doubled up situations. And so often that means they're not on the lease. They're either staying with friends, they've moved in with family members. Sometimes those situations are somewhat stable. They can stay until they find a new place, but often the families I work with are kind of there until they can't be there anymore. And so because their situation changes frequently, their access to being able to get to school will change depending upon where they're living. If they're living in our district or outside of our district, how does transportation work? I think while we're virtual, some of those barriers are slightly easier just because I don't have to worry about transportation support. But I think I have a lot of families too that if we're fully virtual, then what are they doing for childcare if the parents are trying to work? And I think there's just a lot of change and not a lot of stability that the families I work with have. So I'm kind of constantly assessing and reassessing what are their needs. I think for me, it's just, again, that constantly hoping that I have the best and most up-to-date communication so I can reassess what the needs are. If we're in person and you moved, do you need different transportation support than we had in place? Often when families move, they are not still assigned to the same neighborhood school. So under my McKinney-Vento supports, then I have to work with the family to figure out, typically the best plan is to stay at the school of origin, but then that means what type of support needs to be in place for that to happen. Childcare, our district is partnering with our Boys and Girls Club in town, as well as the YMCA. They, during the normal school year time, would provide before and after school care at many of our school sites. And what they will be doing now is offering the option of full day childcare, but at our school sites. Access to basic needs is another thing I really worry about for my families. I have a basic needs hygiene closet that I keep for our district. A lot of my homeless families are in need of basic products like laundry detergent and dish soap and toilet paper and those type of things. And when their kids are in school, I can either send those care packages to school, they can go home with kids, parents can come by and just pick them up at my office. And that is all a very new world of navigating curbside pickup of care packages. Am I going to be at my office? Am I going to be working from my house? So I think there's just a lot of fluidity to my support this year. One thing I found extremely beneficial is that last spring when school was not happening in person for kids, that I was able to get a district cell phone. And that was kind of a game changer for me. It really helps the families I work with to be able to access me. I also spent a lot of time last spring and continue to update it, and will continue to do so this year too, looking at all the resources in our community. What's changed? Can you access the food pantries in person? Is it drive up? What days are they offering? What hours are they offering? I'm really trying to link families in with community accessible resources and not just solely this is what the school can provide. I think for me, it's just continuing to educate staff on what my role is in the district. If they have families that are homeless, to refer them to me.
Well, I think it's amazing that this is only your second year as a liaison and you've already put all these really creative and really kind of big picture strategies in place, as well as some things that are maybe more micro, like providing your families with resource lists, which saves them so much time and so much trouble and sometimes wild goose chases when they're looking for something and they're not going to be able to get it, but you already know that. But then you also have macro things like let's look at setting up childcare, and because of course you're featured in our online enrollment checklist. So I'm glad you took the time to talk about that. So that was terrific. Thank you so much, Christi.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that you're reaching out to all of us doing the work